drops.
Cam Akers is just running lights out right now. Ooh, toe drag swag there by Cooper Kupp.
Forget 13-3. The Los Angeles Rams finally knock off the New England Patriots.
Well, hello there. What's going on, everybody? Welcome into First Take on a Feel Good Friday. Molly Rose here with the fellas, Stephen A. Smith, Max Kellerman, looking dapper as usual, gentlemen. I want to dive right into this one, though. I find it very interesting, this Rams team silencing the Patriots. The defense is playing out of control, and obviously you all saw what happened with Cam getting benched and Jared Stidham having to step in. Let's hear from Coach Belichick and Cam right now.
That's not my call. I'm just doing what I'm asked. I just have to still go into each and every week with the mentality to keep getting better, and that's what I plan on doing.
You're going to stick with Cam next week at quarterback?
Yeah, great question, Mike. I'm really glad you asked that. Cam's our quarterback. You know, we were out-coached, outplayed, at everything, really. They did a good job in all the areas. And, you know, we just have to, all do a better job, start with me. But so we didn't do anything well enough to win tonight, so we all got to do a better job.
All right, Stephen A., I'm going to start with you here first. Let's focus on Cam. Do you think he's finished as an elite quarterback in the NFL?
Sadly, yes, I do. I do feel that way. Look, I've been on the record, and Max knows this. I've always highlighted the fact that Cam Newton, to me, is not an elite thrower of the football. You play quarterback position and you're not an elite thrower of the football. You've got to be a Lamar Jackson type dude, a Kyler Murray type dude in order to get away with not throwing the football as ineffectively as Cam Newton throws the football. And that's just that simple. I look at him, he's underthrowing, he's overthrowing, and I get, COVID-19 situation. I understand it, and I definitely threw that out there a few weeks ago because it's relevant. We don't know what kind of residual impact that may have had. But just watching, the eye test tells you all you need to know. And watching Cam Newton for years, with the exception of the 1 year where Norv Turner was the offensive coordinator in Carolina, where he was completing better than 67% of his passes, and obviously the next season before he got injured. Outside of that, Cam Newton hovers around 60%, 59% completion percentage throwing a football. He has never been that accurate of a passer. When you combine that with him being in New England, with the limited number of weapons from the wideout spot that Bill Belichick has given him, certainly Bill Belichick and the Patriots, particularly Bill Belichick, obviously deserve some culpability, because if there's one weakness that Bill Belichick is perceived as having, is draft picks of wide receivers. He can't seem to find any on time and time again. We talk about DK Metcalf, A.J. Brown, and others having been passed up by other teams. How about Bill Belichick passing up on them? Maybe that had a lot to do with Tom Brady wanting to leave as well. But in the end, when you still watch Cam Newton, just on its face, Max, last 3 games, last night 119 yards passing, the week before like 79 yards passing, the week before that like 84 yards passing. He is, to call it pedestrian would be kind. He does not look like a good passer of the football. He's been hit a lot in his career. It's taken its toll, even though he's still a phenomenal athlete. It's still a tall order to ask. He ain't running over people anymore. You got to be elusive and speedy like Lamar Jackson and Kyler Murray to pull that off, even a Deshaun Watson to a lesser degree. Cam Newton is not that dude anymore, and I don't see times getting better as more dust is collected by his birth certificate.
Well, you could never judge Cam Newton strictly by the stats. He was not a traditional quarterback and can't be judged traditionally, although I would look at win-loss record. They're 6-7 on a team without any offensive talent at all. And they're 2 plays away from being 8-5. So that's how I usually judge Cam Newton. How is he doing and what does he have around him? It is too early to tell if Cam Newton is done as an elite quarterback. You have to say at one point he was elite because he was the MVP of the league and has got his team to the Super Bowl without an offense, really. He was his best running back, and his best receiver was his tight end. And here's, Stephen A., what's unfair about saying Cam Newton is done as an elite quarterback. What's unfair about that is Tom Brady was done as an elite quarterback last year. with the Patriots. But all I heard was, you can't judge him. He has no receivers. He has no weapons. No one can get open. I said, but Stephen A., he's missing guys right, left, short, long, every which way you can miss a receiver. No one can get open. He has no time to throw, etc., etc. He has no weapons. So it made Tom Brady look not elite, right? But you said maybe he still is. In fact, you suspect maybe he is. Well, why does the same not apply to Cam Newton? Why, and no, Cam Newton's never going to put up Tom Brady passing numbers. He's not the passer Tom Brady is. But I don't think Bill Belichick looks at football that way. He looks at, how do you get the job done? Can you get the job done with Cam? He obviously thinks you can. The greatest coach of all time seems to have his quarterbacks back. Even after a game in which he had to yank them, he said, Cam Newton's the quarterback. He loves his competitiveness, all this. And how does Cam sound talking to the media? Not like he used to, insecure, running everything through, what should I say, what's the PC answer? He's giving you the right answer, and you see he's internalized whatever it is that he and Belichick have been working on, right? He's taking accountability. He's not deflecting anything. So if Tom Brady at 43 looks pedestrian with those weapons, how does a 31-year-old already written off when the weapons are worse this year? So let me get this straight. Cam Newton, former MVP, coming off a catastrophic injury, entering a new system, which was set up to be the opposite of the system he could run. Remember, Tom Brady, same system for 20 years, same coach for 20 years, pedestrian with these guys, with less than Tom Brady had, with defections off the defense before the season even starts, and then Gilmore gets hurt, right? With all of that, then he gets COVID, can't play, has lingering effects, clearly isn't the same. And of all of this, they're 6-7. How can you say it's over for him? By the way, he's completing 66% of his passes heading into yesterday, one of his better completion percentages for his career. I can't say he's done as an elite quarterback at the age of 31. I need more evidence. I don't know that he is. And in fact, I see certain things that are actually encouraging.
Well, first of all, a couple of things that are very important to point out. Number one, you don't even look like Max Kellerman this morning. You look like the babyface Max Kellerman. I don't know if you know that, but since you got the shave and the haircut and all of that stuff, you actually look like the babyface Max Kellerman. The babyface, okay? That's number one. Number two, when you look at Cam Newton, I don't want to hear about his completion percentage and what have you. I understand that it's not that bad compared to what it was in years past. I get that. What I'm saying to you, Max, is that when you point about him being bereft of talent at the wideout spot and what have you, let's take into consideration that that was an unacceptable excuse for you when you watched Carson Wentz. Why? Because those Beetlejuice eyes of yours, you said the eye test. Pay attention to the eye test. Look at what Carson Wentz is doing. Forget the pieces around him or lack thereof. Forget the injuries and all that stuff. Just watch him and how he's regressing before your eyes. What I'm saying to you about Cam Newton, let's shove aside numbers. Let's shove aside a completion percentage. Let's shove aside all that. As you watch this guy stand back and throw the football, you don't see that accurate of a passer, period, number one. Number two, the way that Cam could move the chains, running the football. I'm not saying he still can't run the football because he's not immobile, but he's not the same. He can't shrug off tacklers the way that he once could because guess what? He's been hit a lot in his career. So even though he's 31 going on 32 years of age, it's like an older version of being 31 going on 32. It's not the same. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not saying he can never be a starter for somebody. I'm not saying he can't produce. I'm not saying he doesn't belong to be in the NFL. But when we looked at Cam as in Superman, that cape has come off. He does not look that way anymore. And that is the point that needs to be made about him.
Okay. I can acknowledge that he looks like a diminished version of himself at the moment. If Carson Wentz this season, his coach had his back, like, no, Carson's doing everything that's asked of him. If Carson Wentz got before the media and gave the kind of answers Cam is giving, just taking accountability, right? I mean, look at the difference. When Cam got yanked from the game, that's not my call, that's on coach. I got to do my job better versus Carson Wentz whining and moping, right? If Carson Wentz had COVID this year and came out of it, and that explains, like, there's a real dip in production. If Carson Wentz went to a new team, coming off a catastrophic injury, in the opposite kind, who just had the opposite kind of quarterback that he is. If all those things were true and he was doing this, I would have a different opinion of Carson Wentz. Completely different situation. I have seen Cam win an MVP and be voted by his peers the best player in football in the middle of Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, and Drew Brees' prime. His peers said Cam is the best. I don't know that that guy is gone forever. There are a lot of circumstances conspiring, I believe, right now to make him look worse than he actually is. And what he actually is a quarterback who's been a little unlucky and is one game below 500 on a team with no talent on offense.
All right, let me get in here, guys. So Cam has thrown 5 TDs to